How can I convince my friend that the Van Allen belt didn't prevent us from landing on the moon? They left a mirror on the moon. You can bounce lasers off it. Of course they landed on the moon. You can't argue with stupid. For anyone who doesn't know what the Van Allen belt is, it's two belts of radiation around the Earth. A smaller inner belt and a larger outer belt. He's convinced that the radiation levels are so high that if astronauts were to go through it, they wouldn't survive. However, he does believe we've had robots on the moon because those can survive it, but not humans. He thinks that 55 years ago, we sent a spaceship to the moon with like 4 kb of RAM and robots that walked around, used a video camera, planted a flag, etc. Your friend should probably not be wandering around unattended, because that's hella dumb. You can't. This is an ego-driven belief. Your friend can't understand the world, and this makes him feel inadequate. So rather than accept he doesn't fully understand reality, he instead changes reality. Your best bet is to socially manipulate him. Historically, this is what mocking people for being stupid was for. If you said something stupid, people would say that's stupid and you'd feel bad and stop saying it. But these days that's more likely to make him hate you. The other is to use a version of the Socratic method, I think called street epistemology. Basically, you must agree to enter an exploratory conversation where you will discuss each fact with an open mind. You need to form a kind of an alliance where he feels you are both skeptical and exploring the issue, not that you feel you are right and telling him it's wrong. You basically need to protect his ego. You cannot make someone less stupid by using logic. Don't bother trying. He's a conspiracy theorist. Evidence is irrelevant. You don't. Former conspiracy theorist here. Your friend does know what they are saying is wrong, they just don't care. What's crazy is that we passed through the Van Allen belt a ton of times as a planet, not just the first time we went to the moon, or the following times we went to the moon, but also the times that we did flybys and lapped it. It's strange how conspiracy theories say the moon landing when there were SAX of them over 3 years. Were they all faked? Was Apollo 10, 12, and 13 also fake when they went through the Van Allen belt, but didn't land? What about the tons of others by other countries? The belts are just that. Belts? You can fly through them quickly to minimize exposure. They aren't instantly lethal. You can also avoid them or minimize your time like Apollo did. They went fast and skirted the edges of the belt. I overheard a friend talking about this very subject, and I shut it down fast. This website tracks who is in space. If we couldn't shield astronauts, they would not be in space. We figured out how to shield people from radiation before we figured out how to send them into space. https://wisinspace.com. Not sure why anybody care about what flat earth people thinks. I couldn't find anything, so he must been misinformed by someone else. Cause he's not the type to make up a lie. OP, when someone needs to be right like your friend, they will lie out the wazoo about their sources. And then say things like they can't remember what link it was who told me or it got posted a while ago, so it's probably bare too much bother to look for it now. Look into smartest person in the room syndrome. You can't argue with an ego-driven need to be right stupid. No stupid questions, but stupid friends. Buzz Aldrin would punch him in the face. He is calling Buzz a liar. Your friend is not interested in the truth. They just want to be right. Your issue has nothing to do with mathematics or proof. It has to do with psychology. Never argue with someone who is convinced they are right. Wait, how does he know of the existence of Van Allen belts? Did he read about it? From the research scientists carried out? The same scientists he dismisses to support his moon landing denial? How does he know the amount of radiation in the Van Allen belts? Conspiracy theorist, do not waste your time. If you want to know more about the Van Allen belts, I would recommend checking out this short video by Scott Manley on the topic. He gives as good overview of the history and science. https://u2.bay9yn50x xfjc equals pz5x2053pbox4 lhttps://u2.bay9yn50x xfjc equals pz5x2053pbox4l. Just say this. The same way we ensure the radiation from a nuclear warhead doesn't kill, we can also insulate a spacecraft. If he still argues, stop the discussion and move on. Landed on the moon? Oh no! That's what the Govan wanted you to think. It was con job set up inside a TV studio and with outside shots done in the desert in Arizona. The moon? FFT. No way. Our neighbor's father, old guy, believed that. He swore to God it was all a propaganda job by the government. Men were in the desert or in a studio walking around. You don't convince them. You one-up them and PFFT. You believe in the moon? I had an ex who was adamant we never landed on the moon even after showing her the lunar lander parked on it with a telescope. Some people want to live in a weird bubble. The answer is to not argue with him. Instead, ask him to walk you through his position using science and math. Check his default numbers to make sure they are real, like, "Hey, I know you used 12,000 kilometers for the circumference of the Earth, but I think you made a typo. The correct number is a BR 24K. Then he will prove himself wrong. A friend of mine went off the deep end with 911 conspiracies and started coming out when he proved to himself that the FAA registered dive speed of the planes hitting the WTC was well within the flight envelope of the plane, thus completely disproving his own point.